It was a mighty impressive collegiate career for Allen Robinson. We continue here on BTN Live, and we bring in the star Penn State wide receiver now who's getting ready for the upcoming NFL draft. And Allen, where have you been told? What kind of range are you going to be selected in this draft?
I'm anywhere from mid to late first or early second. I'm anywhere in the second round really as well. That's kind of what I've been hearing, so we'll see.
Well, here's the question, Allen. How many teams have you met with, and how in-depth have the discussions been when you've talked to them? Have you met with all the position coaches, the coordinators?
Through the whole process, I've met with about 27 teams. I'll say it went pretty in-depth, like a lot of the conversations, like with them coming to visit me taking visits, and visiting with them at the combine, So I would say everything went well with a lot of different places.
Did any of the teams that you went to their facility and met with, did any of them come to Penn State and give you a private workout and put you through the whole 9 yards?
No, I haven't had any private workouts.
Have you talked to those Houston Texans at all? I'm not sure if you're aware of who their head coach is.
I talked to Coach O'Brien about a month ago. Well, about a month ago. I talked to my receiver coach a little bit as well. So they just, been just seeing how I am, checking on me a little bit through the whole process.
Allen, I want to change the topic here a little bit. I want to talk about one of your ex-teammates, Christian Hackenberg. What does he do best at quarterback?
I would say he can make ridiculous throws. That's the main thing with him. His arm is amazing. So I think with him, that's the main thing he can do. He can fit balls in the tight spots. He can connect with the deep ball. And he's very accurate as well along with that.
You've obviously been in the huddle with him. You've been in the locker room with him, off-season workouts. You probably have been with him in the social setting. How would you describe Christian Hackenberg?
Christian's pretty laid back and chill. He's a pretty young guy, so that probably had a lot to do with him just coming into a new environment and things like that. But Christian's pretty laid back and a quiet guy.
Who's he going to be throwing to now that you're not there anymore? Who are the guys that are going to replace you?
Eugene Lewis, Matt Zinletto, Richie Anderson, and a guy, he redshirted last year, Deshaun Hamilton. So I think that whole core group of guys can have a big year for Penn State receiving-wise, so they have a great opportunity ahead. I think that they're going to capitalize on it.
What do you see in Geno Lewis?
Well, I see a lot. He's a lot like me. He has some of the best hands that I've seen, and he's a playmaker.
Give me a name of somebody, doesn't have to be a wide receiver, but somebody on Penn State who hasn't been recognized yet but could easily be a star next year.
A couple guys, Adrian Amos and Bill Belton. I think that this is their senior year. So I think that they have a great opportunity ahead of themselves, and they're kind of looking forward to it. I think they're ready to make some big plays, for Penn State. They've made plays before in the past. But I think that they're ready to take it to another level.
How much did you get to meet James Franklin?
I met him briefly. I was up there for my pro day, and that's the only time I've been back. So, I talked to Coach Franklin a little bit, but I think he's going to do a great job and has done a great job this far with that group of guys. What
have been your early on impressions, even in the brief time you met with him?
He's a real outgoing guy. He's young. Has a lot of energy. And I think that's something for a young team that we have at Penn State that's going to kind of help relate with those guys.
Allen, congratulations on a truly incredible career at Penn State. Best of luck this weekend in the NFL draft, man.
Thank you.
So that was Allen Robinson, and the interview went quickly, sort of like his college career, but man, when he was at Penn State, he exploded. The beginning of his sophomore year, and it seemed like he stayed at that level the final 2 years he played.
Yeah, I think the poise for a guy his age was really incredible. You think back of the Michigan game. There's no way Penn State wins that game without Allen Robinson and Christian Hackenberg, but Robinson just made a lot of clutch plays. He seems to be a great competitor. And I would imagine for the NFL, Russ, the fact that he's a young guy, that has to rise his stock, right?
Well, I think it's the young part, and I think also, like you talked about, he's a competitor. To make plays running after the catch in the NFL, it's not just about speed. It's about want, desire, willingness to fight through hits, fight through guys grabbing at you to make plays. And I think that's one of the things that's helped him move up draft boards.
His pro day helped him out, too?
Oh, I think there's no question. I think when you watched him on film at Penn State, you saw a guy that flashed explosiveness, flashed big playability, but then he went to the combine and he ran slow, and NFL teams all of a sudden said, what happened? His pro day, he ran better. He worked out phenomenally. Then they could go back and say, okay, what we saw in film, that's the player we expect to see in the NFL. Eases any concerns. That's why I think he's got a very good chance to be a first-round pick.
He's expected to be a first-round pick, but not the number one overall.
No, not the number one overall.
We